Today we're talking with Marcel Wagner, the president of the Great River Economic Development Foundation, and the annual meeting is coming up on Wednesday of this week as we start off the new week here, and very excited. Will be your second or third?
This is my second
annual meeting. So.
The first one I was really nervous. This one I'm a little less nervous.
You know, as I said for years, and it's never happened, the key to that would be if it was an open bar, not a cash bar. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, if Quincy Journal would like to fund the open bar, we'd happily do that.
I'll run that up the flagpole. We'll see that happen. So, but seriously, coming into this event, I know we've had. I know there's some things in the pipeline that I know we're not quite ready to talk about yet, but I think right now on the heels of the situation with Quincy Compressor, I know one of the things that you guys want to stress is, hey, we've still got some good things going on.
Yeah, there is, and in terms of GREDF, we've had a couple things over the past year, working very closely with the board. We've become a better business organization. We've streamlined all of our policies and procedures. We, took a hard look at membership this year, and that's been a very, very positive thing for us internally. We've had a great response to our membership program, and kudos to all the work Maggie Strong has done in putting the program together, and she and I have been working it, and we really appreciate that. As an organization, as a business organization, we have to kind of be one of those that does everything right, and so we're striving to do that. We've had some staff changes this year. Angela Caldwell joined us to take over our workforce program. Has really done an outstanding job. So I think as an organization, GREDF is hitting on all cylinders, and I'm very, very pleased with that. In terms of our work plan, I think we did very well according to our what we said we were going to do this past year. We focused on business retention meetings. We met with well over 70 businesses and really heard what they had to say, and are trying to work on strategies to address those. Workforce continues to be probably the number one issue in things that we can hopefully try to impact. Companies simply can't find enough people, and so we're looking at some strategies on how we move forward with that. One of the things we're going to do in early 2015 is a look at the underemployed people in our community, people that are making 60 or 70% of the median wage in the area, and how can we reach those people, and how can we help them get trained up to accept some of the better head of household jobs that are open in the community. We heard that there was issues with freight and shipments, and we've started a freight council. We're working with Western Illinois University. We put together a freight council, and we have a group of companies that are working with GREDF to try to address how do we address these issues? How do we help companies reduce their freight costs? How do we help companies improve their performance by having the equipment availability? And so that's been a key part. We've started an executive roundtable where we have a group of the leading executives coming together each month with no specific meeting agenda, but to talk about community issues. Some of those that have come up in the initial meetings are, what's going to happen in 5 or 6 years when we're going to see a lot of very, very talented people retire out of the workforce? How do we backfill those jobs? So we can begin to look at ways to partner with John Wood and with the Quincy schools and the other county schools to address some of these issues. There are a lot of very, very good jobs in the community, and we need to begin to find more unique ways to help fill those positions, and that's a key item for us.
When one other thing that was big news this year was the fact that the state made a commitment to pump some more dollars into the Port Authority.
Yeah.
What's GREDF's role in helping nurture that project?
Charles Bell, who works for GREDF on a contract basis, is also the port director. So Charles and I work very closely together. We'd been meeting with a number of people throughout the state and throughout Missouri and Iowa to help make sure that our Port Authority stays healthy and viable. But we're also involved in the structure of the applications for things like the Tiger Grant. But one of the real, I think, advantages that we have now is the fact that the governor in November announced that we get the planning grant. And we'd not been successful in the Tiger Grants before for several reasons. And one of them, we simply didn't have the planning and engineering done. Now we're moving forward with that. And a lot of the federal agencies have stepped up to say, we want to see this get done. And so we're optimistic that as the planning and engineering goes forward, that in the next round of Tiger grants, we'll see some funding for the actual construction of the port. But these are long-term issues that don't happen overnight. But I think in talking to our port board and with Charles and with a number of other people in the community who've worked behind the scenes, this is really our opportunity. And that's kind of the theme of our annual meeting. We've heard from a number of companies, if we can expand our port facilities, make them more accessible. The new location down at the south of Lock and Dam 21 will make it more accessible. It relieves some safety issues where they have the public docks now or between the ADM docks. Companies have said if we can get this done, then they'll look at significant investments. And so when you put together what the potential port project could be and some other expansion projects that could happen, and the school's construction, I mean, you're looking over 5 years, well over $100 million in potential new construction. So that's going to drive business for suppliers. It's going to drive business for the trade crafts. So I think the theme of our meeting is very apropos in being that it's opportunity ahead, and we really see that.
I think one of the things that I've always said about the Port Authority is while it's a little tough to understand, as it's kind of a nebulous concept, one of the things that I've always, in my research on it, is appreciated is its public-private partnership potential. Because going back 3 or 4 years ago in this community, we had a lot of things, we had a lot of people just throwing stuff in the air. Hey, we want to do this, hey, we want to do that, without really a clear focus. And a lot of this stuff was, quite frankly, just strictly government driven,
right.
Whether it was hydro, whether it was the potential to bring a intermodal facility downtown or whatever it was, but the Port Authority was always something, and it was always my thing that, hey, if we would maybe focus and everybody kind of work together to pay a little more attention to the Port Authority concept, it is something that could really truly be the payoff without a massive, I mean, it's still going to be a big public infrastructure, but for example, hydro was just all on the backs of the citizens of Quincy to get this thing going. The Port Authority was something that was going to have a lot of people working together, but not only public money, a good chunk, as you talked about, private partners getting involved.
Yes, and that's been one of the big changes, is we do have a private sector partner that has stepped up and said they would like to be a part of this. We have a lot of companies here in Quincy and in the region that are involved in the ag industry and the transportation industry, and I think those will all benefit by the port, new port facilities. As we're looking forward in March, I'm going to be going out to a meeting with 6 or 7 of the national site consultants, and we're putting together a marketing sheet on, with our new port potential. We're putting together a sheet to talk about, if you have a client that can fit these needs, that needs barge traffic, that needs to use the river, that has the potential of bringing product in or out via the new Panama Canal, now's the time to start looking at that. And so that's something we're really excited about, and that's going to be a big part of our marketing efforts. One of the other big items that we'll be doing this coming year is our branding project. We really need to make a strong statement for a variety of organizations, for the city, for the county, for the chamber, for the CVB, for ourselves, for downtown, and really rebrand ourselves to reflect what this community not only is at the present, but what it can be over the next 5, 10, 15 years. And so that effort, which we've been involved in, and it looks like it'll start right after in early 2015, is critically important for us as a marketing tool. Marketing is one of those things that when you talk to some people, they think, well, marketing is one of those expenditures that has no payback, but it does have a payback. It's long term.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
And so we need to be out front in getting our message out. In October, when I met with one of the national site consultants who I've known for years, and we talked about the potential for the port project. This is before we knew about the grant. He said to me, Marcel, he said that port project probably is attractive to the top 10% of my clients. He said the small entrepreneur is probably not going to be able to take advantage of it to any great extent. He said, but the big companies that make big investments and employ lots of people with very, very good head of household jobs will be the people that are interested in that. We've had great cooperation from the railroads, from the Burlington Junction, from Norfolk Southern. We've done some layouts of what that facility could look like. The ability to assemble unit trains in that South Quincy Development District becomes critically important. And my consultant friend said to me, you know, and I kept talking about our intermodal capabilities. He said you just have to think beyond that. He said you're not intermodal, you're multimodal. Road, river, rail. He said, you know, proximity to the major markets. He said that really makes you a multimodal player. And he said when you put in the ability to look at container on barge down the road, that all becomes very, very important to companies. It's all about cost. So if they can reduce their freight costs, that's what those are the things they look at.
All right. Well, again, the GREDF annual meeting is Wednesday night, the Oakley Lindsay Center. Things start at what, 5:30?
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, cash bar.
Cash bar, though, at 5 o'clock. So
bar.
bring a couple bucks and a little.
When you come, I'll buy you your first adult beverage.
All right. Sounds good. Well, again, Marcel Wagner of GREDF getting ready for the annual meeting.